I
Oh
think.
my God, that one's so
That one's
good.
really good.
That one made me cry and cry and cry.
Yeah, it's on Book Outlet, and I had it in my cart, and then I took it out of my cart.
No, I would.
Yeah, and then I think Brandy told me to put it back in the cart because she said that she thought it was you, Kendra, that really liked it.
Yeah,
I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was like one of my favorite romances of the year.
It's a like an adult contemporary. It's not really. It's a romance, but not like.
It's not smutty at all.
No, not at all.
Okay, so it is adult because
it's very emotional.
The book cover looks like YA, and so I took it back out. I was like,
it's an adult.
It's a second chance romance, so there's a big portion of people. It's a big portion in the past and then in the present, but it's more adult.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're going to be discussing The Other Mrs. Miller by Allison Dixon. We have some comments coming in. We'll just give people a few seconds. Looks like Penny says hi. Jessica says hi. Let's give a couple minutes. My book video blog says hi.
Hello.
How many of you guys read the book, or if you guys are just coming in to say hello? Hi, Chloe.
Oh, I'm cold.
Yeah, me too. I have my fan on.
It snowed here last night.
Oh, that's crazy.
Speaking of snowing, here's a story real quick before we start. So last night I'm sleeping on the couch and my husband's like playing a video game or whatever. And it's like 1:30 in the morning. And all of a sudden I hear him like stomping in the house because there's like these kids throwing snowballs at our freaking windows.
Oh my gosh.
And then I guess they were like doing like all of our neighbors too. And I guess the cops were like going around trying to find these kids.
Oh my goodness.
That's crazy.
1:30 in the morning.
Jessica said, and by that I mean I DNF'd it.
Yikes. I know that Beth also DNF'd it.
Yeah.
A couple people DNF'd it. Well, you guys
I'm surprised because I had heard, like, even with some of the people in the book club, like I think Debbie and Shannon both rated it 4 stars.
Really?
And so I thought it was going to be they read it like a couple months ago before it came out. And so I thought it was going to be really good.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it until you had mentioned that it was like, when we were brainstorming like newer releases, you had mentioned it and I had never heard of it before and it sounded so good. And I think I just got sucked in by the pretty cover and the fact that it was on sale for $10 on Amazon.
Yeah. I'm glad I got it from the library and I didn't buy
it. I bought it, but I'm probably going to like swap it out or something like that, or I don't know, give it to someone. But I think we have quite a few people watching now, so I think we could probably start now. So yeah, everyone, we're going to be talking about The Other Mrs. Miller by Allison Dixon, and all of us didn't really love it. I gave it 3 stars.
3 stars.
Yeah.
I gave it 2.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah. So Kendra, Jackie, what were like your favorite and least favorite things about the book?
For me, my favorite parts was the very first part when we were following Phoebe. And I thought when she was having an affair with the neighbor boy, I loved that part.
Yeah,
but
I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, and then when we went to the second part of the book where we're following the other, I don't even remember her name. Following her, I didn't like that part at all.
Right.
What was her name?
Nadia.
Oh, yes, that's
Nadia,
it.
Nadia, the half sister.
Yes. I hated that twist.
I thought it was very predictable. Like when she was like, "Oh, I'm the half sister." I was like,
"Yeah,
I saw that coming."
Like, duh.
Like that, yeah, duh.
Yeah. And then why would you sit there and stalk her? Like, just sit there and watch her for days. It's crazy.
Yeah, and the thing was like the cast was so small, so like of course it had to be one of the characters that there was like 5 characters, that was it. So it was like of course it had to be one of those
of them.
And if the book would have even done what I hate more, which is like the person would have been someone that like legit was talked about for 2 seconds, and I would have even hated it even more. So it's like the book could not have done anything correctly.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending like twist at all. I thought it was like really like, could that really happen? I thought the whole like, so like you, Kendra, I really liked the first portion, like the Mrs. Miller portion, because I did find the like affair really, the forbidden romance really interesting, but I really didn't like the second portion at all. I thought it was really unrealistic how they did the whole thing. I just thought it was really ridiculous. And I also didn't like in the first portion where there's the chapters of Nadia, she like talks about that murder of someone. Like, why did that even happen? Like, was that even necessary to the plot to add that murder of the grocery person? Yeah, like why? Like, why'd they do that?
Yeah. It never came back around and was never explained, like, why that was even in the story.
Right, yeah, they just had the police looking, oh, are you harboring this Nadia woman? You look just like Nadia. No, I'm Phoebe. Like, okay, why was that even in there?
Yeah. It was just like no one in their right mind would have been able to like, or would have not been able to not tell. I don't know. There's too many negatives in there. Like, you can't just lose 10 pounds overnight from a flu, have different hair color, and the neighbors not know that it's not you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that was just so unbelievable. It was just like, it was just laughable. Like, I was like, why would you even write a book like this?
Yeah. And like, they were like half sisters. There's no way they even looked that similar to one another.
Right, exactly. Like, my sisters don't look anything like me, and they're my half sisters. So like, I couldn't even. There's just no way.
Yeah.
And then the husband slept with Nadia, and I'm like, would that really happen? Like, why is Nadia even attracted to him? Like, clearly he's a shady person.
And the whole like infertility baby thing in the beginning, like no one even really touched base on that like later, except for that little part of the email where she was like, oh, you can find a baby maker now. But like, other than that, like, you didn't even hear about that for the rest of the book.
It was kind of just thrown in there for no reason.
Just because they want it to be relevant for 2019.
Which, that's another thing that I think we briefly touched upon in our chat. We were saying that a lot of books nowadays are touching on infertility, like a lot of thrillers, and they put it in like a negative light, and I don't really know why.
Yeah, that was something that I wrote in the Wives review. Like, it's like, you can only read so many thrillers that have women that deal with infertility shown as a crazy person before it starts getting really old and really just like frustrating.
Right. And they were putting it in this book, like the main character Phoebe was seen as cold and unlikable because of her inability to have children, and because she decided she didn't want to have
children.
Yeah, she decided to not have anymore. And I thought that was kind of weird that she was looked at as cold and like not a good person because of that. Like, I feel like if people don't want to have kids, like, that's their choice.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some of these comments. It looks like there's a couple 4 stars and a couple 3 stars, a couple DNFs. And Chloe says the part she couldn't buy was that their voices and speech would be the same or not for Phoebe and Nadia. Yeah, their voices definitely wouldn't be the same.
Well, she said something like that. Like, she was like, oh, I hope that they can't tell that this is my voice. Like, I'm going to have to like practice her voice. But it's like, how do you practice someone's voice? Especially since she never met her. Like, she was like, well, I have to go back and like listen to voicemails and like practice her voice or something like that.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Very unlikely. Penny says that the murder of the grocery store guy was to give the husband something to hold over Nadia's head. Well, yes, but also they took the photos with the dead body. I thought that was to hold over each other's heads, not the murder of the grocery store guy. I thought it was the like photos that they took, the very weird photos that they took with the dead body.
Why would you do
that? And
how
in the heck did the neighbor lady know to go searching in a suitcase for a phone?
That's a good question.
Like, I mean, how long was she even searching in there for? Like, they were all waiting for dinner, so it's not like it was like 25 minutes or something.
Well, she was shady anyway.
Yeah.
what did you guys think of the neighbors? Like the different neighbors? Like, what did you think about the friend and the son and the husband?
I didn't like any of them.
Yeah, I didn't like them either. I thought the son, I think his name was like Jake or something. I think he was a little too obsessed with Phoebe. Like all of a sudden he's like, I love you. Like we're meant to be together. Like they
That's what
always love
happens with the
together.
youngins, though.
I'm like, but he could have like someone his age, right? And he wants like this older woman, and like
She's got experience.
He's obsessed. But
he also
like,
probably wanted that car.
Yeah, I think he probably had a boner more for the car than he did for her. Jessica says that she thinks that everything was just too convenient.
Agreed.
Yeah. Like it doesn't seem plausible. It just seems like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then Nicole, Girly Girl Bookworm, she says the affair made no sense. He was way too immature, and being hot didn't make up for it. I think she just liked the thrill of getting away with it.
That's what I was going to say. Like, it was just something new and, like, shiny. It's not like, I don't actually think that she was going to run away with him. She was probably going to run away and just run away.
Maybe not with him.
By herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he had the scholarship to Stanford, which is in California. It's actually only like, I don't know, 45 minutes from me. And that is like a nice ass college. Like, it's so nice. And he had a whole scholarship to go there and he wanted to give it up. Like, what?
To be with her?
Yeah, to be with her. Like, it's not, definitely, Nicole said it's not worth leaving the scholarship for her.
And like, so how long were they even together? Like, how long were they sleeping together? Not that long, right?
I think it was just a couple weeks.
Not long. Not long.
Yeah, exactly. And let's talk about where they dumped her body.
I can't even remember.
In that manure pit.
Oh, yeah. That was disgusting.
I'm like, oh my God.
It was decomposed there and it already smelled anyways.
I just think, like, no matter how you slice it, nobody in their right mind would be like, oh, let's not report this to the police. Like, it's better for us to just hide this body that we didn't murder. Well, I mean, although I guess technically her husband stabbed her at the last minute, but, like, still, who would ever do that?
Yeah, I feel like if they had happened upon this body, they could have just called the police. Yeah. And if they both were innocent, they should have been able to just call the police because they weren't guilty. Jessica,
or like, why didn't the neighbor lady, if like the lady just fell and hit her head, like, why didn't she call the police?
Yeah. That's true. I don't understand. Jake. I don't understand why the neighbor killed herself.
I don't either.
Like, why'd she kill herself? If she didn't murder the neighbor, why did she?
I thought they just said that she killed herself. I thought that someone else pulled the trigger.
No, she did.
I thought she pulled the trigger.
Oh, I thought that's just what they reported to the police.
I thought they were just
to make it as a suicide so that no one would get in trouble.
I mean, that's one way to see it. I
don't know. Maybe I like misread that part.
Yeah, well, they didn't technically say that she pulled the trigger, but they insinuated, I thought, that she did. So, I mean, that could be a possibility. It's like one of the situations where, like, you don't really know. I don't know. That's a good question. Jessica says that she thought Phoebe and Jake's plan to leave the country together was also crazy and, like, out of the blue. And it did seem, like, kind of sudden. Like, she's like, okay, I'm just going to leave my husband now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take this teenager with me. Yeah, that didn't seem... I don't know. It all just seemed just very convenient and unrealistic.
Yeah, they're all saying that she killed herself. She pulled the trigger.
Yeah, it looks like Nicole, Penny, and Ilana. Yeah, they thought that. So, I mean, that would have been interesting, too, if they had tried to stage her murder. Yet another person, like...
Yeah.
Randomly dying. I don't know. This book was just such a letdown. I thought it was going to be really good.
Yeah, I did too. Like when I was first reading like the first part, I felt like I was reading like a romance novel. And I was like, where the heck is the thriller part of this book? But I liked it. And
yeah,
then
I didn't quite get romance, but I was like intrigued, kind of like I was intrigued with All the Beautiful Lies by Peter Swanson. I read that for your recommendation.
That kind of reminds me of the same thing. Yeah.
With like the older woman, younger man. And Nicole says that she could never tell if she liked the neighbor's husband because his storyline was really hard to tell what was true and what wasn't. I think he just had a lot of anger problems, and clearly he had like that malpractice suit and they lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a little controlling.
And then he gave that money back. So, like, I don't know. That whole money thing was weird.
Yeah, it all was just strange. It was strange. I don't know.
It was like all these, like, I guess, things were happening, but then she didn't really know how to tie up the loose ends at the end. So it was just like she was trying, it was like red herrings. Like she was trying to, like, have all these different, like, money and I don't know, characters and stuff, but then it just didn't make sense at the end because it was like all of these loose ends are still here.
Yeah, I feel like the ending was like she just, like you said, was trying to tie it up and make it seem like twisty, but it wasn't actually thoughtfully done.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like the easy way out. Like, oh, it was actually the husband all along. Like, what a novel idea.
Yeah.
When it like wasn't very, I don't know, wasn't very unique to me.
Oh, I guess Vic, what is her name? Vicky or Victoria, something like that. Vicky, she killed herself. It was because she was so upset about the whole David, like that, the dad.
Just so unhappy with her husband that she just couldn't stand her life anymore?
No, it was from like Nadia and Phoebe's dad, remember? Like, didn't pay the mom, like after the mom.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and then that's why they had all those medical bills.
Oh, yeah, because she was, assaulted. Well, not assaulted, but she had an affair with him. I didn't like the inclusion of the dad because he wasn't even alive anymore. So he wasn't even a live character. He was just like someone that they referred to, and everyone hated, and he was part of the twist, but he wasn't alive. So it's like he wasn't even a real character. Jessica said it's always the husband. Yeah, generally. That's funny. Well, I feel like we don't have a whole lot to talk about with this book just because we didn't like love it. I know that our first one we talked about, like 13, we just did like a little bit of a Q&A. Like, should we talk about maybe our next book for next month, since we don't have a whole lot to talk about for this book, unless people have any last thoughts about this book that they want to share, or their thoughts about it. Ilana said it's the author's first book. Same with Chloe, and so like maybe
speaking of the author, she actually lives in the same town as, like, well, not town, but grew up like very close to where I grew up.
Oh, wow.
So she grew up in like Dayton, Ohio, which I think is crazy weird, but
that's close. That's cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like with her more like subsequent books, they'll get better.
Yeah.
It is her debut, and sometimes people's debut aren't as good. Jessica said she's excited for December's book, so our December book, should we just like announce it here, that way people can get an idea for it? So we're going to be reading Her Pretty Face by Robin Harding. So I'm really hoping we enjoy that one, even though all of us didn't like the arrangement that much by Robin Harding. Yeah, I didn't love that one, but I'm hoping that this one is better because it's a like more of a domestic one. Right? Does anyone know what it's about?
I think it's also about this lady that's pretending to be a different lady.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh, dang.
I think it's like she's jealous of this other lady that she sees, and she like tries to be her.
That sounds like the secret.
I think I can grab the book. It's like right there.
Yeah, I have no idea what it's about. Mine is downstairs.
I haven't even gotten it yet.
I was gifted it by Beth, so I have like a used copy of it. I'm excited that I have it.
Let's see.
Jessica's excited because she liked the arrangement.
So Frances is struggling to stay afloat, a stay-at-home mom whose troubled son Marcus is her full-time job. She thought that the day he got accepted into the elite Forester Academy would be the day she started living her life. She's overweight, insecure, lonely, all this kind of stuff. Then she meets Kate. Kate is everything Frances is not. Beautiful, wealthy, powerful, blah, blah, blah. The two bond, and because one of these women is not who she seems, her name is somebody else, and she's a murderer. So one of these two women, I guess, is a murderer, is what it is.
I like the cover.
I do too.
I like the cover a lot.
It's like rainwater, I guess.
And then how pretty is like scratched out.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that one, even though I didn't love the arrangement. I think they're going to be two totally different books.
And I mean, the arrangement wasn't bad. It was entertaining. It just not.
I liked the sugar daddy, sugar baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't like the twist, really.
Yeah.
We're like, we want sex in our thrillers and taboo sex.
Yeah, exactly. A couple people said they liked the arrangement, so I think some people are really excited for it because they are also liked the arrangement. So that's good. Some people liked the arrangement, and so hopefully this one meets everyone's expectations. Hopefully it's not a miss like the other Mrs. Miller.
Yeah.
It's hard. I feel like with me, like thrillers are the most hit or miss.
Same.
Versus like romances a lot of the time are a little bit formulaic, and they always usually have like a happy ending, and so like you can appreciate the romance or whatever if it's like a trope you like, usually you'll like it. Whereas I feel like with thrillers, because a lot of the times, me personally, I don't read the blurb, I just kind of go into it blind, then I end up being more hit or miss because of that. Because I'm not really sure about like the twist or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It's also like more, I guess, disheartening, I guess, because even if I rate a thriller like a 4-star, I still am just like unsatisfied and just upset that it wasn't like it didn't like blow my mind. You know what I mean? Because a lot of thrillers like follow the same thing. So it's like, sure, like the writing could have been great, but like even rating it like a 4-star, it's just like, well, I've kind of seen this before, and so that's kind of sad.
Yeah, or like the ending like makes it or breaks it. So like the writing could have been really good, but then they give you just a cheap ending and it kind of ruins it for you. Like
makes you mad.
Yeah. Or it could be like the other way around, like you hate the writing but you like the twist or something, but then you still can't give it 5 stars because the writing is just like terrible.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest time I have with thrillers is because of that. And I don't feel like I get that same thing in like historical fiction or like romances or just like regular contemporaries. A lot of times with those, I feel like what you see is what you get. Thrillers, you can't really do that because it would spoil like the whole book.
Yeah. And I feel like after so many thrillers that you read that you start knowing all of the different twists, so they don't become quite as thrilling anymore.
Yeah, I've been a little bit burnt out after like October with thrillers. I read so many thrillers. I think I read like over 20 thrillers in October, and I'm like, holy moly, I just need like a little like break because it's been so many thrillers, and I felt like I kept reading like the same story like over and over again. And I'm just like, I need a break a little bit, like a couple of months, like for now. But it's just, thrillers. I'm just feeling like everything is being labeled as a thriller, but a lot of them are really just mysteries. Like, was the other Mrs. Miller really a thriller? Or was it more just suspense?
I think suspense.
It's probably just domestic suspense.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's what it says on the book. I don't have the book with me, but
it says domestic suspense on it.
I think it does. Yeah, like on the back.
I don't know. This one's an ARC, so it doesn't.
Oh.
Her domestic suspense.
Yeah.
it's like underneath her author name.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that's good, because I feel like nowadays everything is being labeled as a thriller,
yeah.
even if it's just a
That's
mystery.
what people want.
Right. Yeah, they label everything as a thriller, even if it's just a mystery. Like, for instance, I think like you went into The Night Olivia Fell like a long time ago thinking it was like a thriller, and a lot of people label it as a thriller, but it's really just a mystery. It's not a thriller at all. There's nothing thrilling about it. Like No Exit by Taylor Adams, that is like 100% thriller, not a lot of mystery. But then something like Sleep that you read was like mystery. It's not really a thriller.
Yeah.
It's like all mystery.
Yeah.
And so I think people who are looking for thrillers can end up being really disappointed if they pick up a mystery and it's labeled as a thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I like my romance books different than my thrillers. It's like, I want fast-paced thrillers, but slow burn romance.
Yeah. I don't like insta-love with romance.
No.
Yeah. Like, I love when it takes, like, almost the whole book for them to, like, actually, like, have a sex scene. Like, that's, like, the best.
You'd probably really like Mariana Zapata. Have you read any of her books?
No, but after you've read Culty, I think that's what it was. I've actually heard a lot of good things about that. And so I might
It is a sports romance.
Yeah.
It's a soccer romance, and I don't know if you like sports romances or not.
Isn't it also enemies to lovers?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit, but they're not.
You don't like enemies to lovers, do you?
No.
No, yeah. You might not.
I don't believe in it.
If you don't like enemies to lovers, you might not like it. A lot of her books follow the same trope of like slow burn, enemies to lovers, sports of some sort. A lot of them, at least. I've read 3, and they've all been kind of like that.
Yeah.
I like that, but if you don't, like, they're not totally rude to each other.
Yeah, I keep trying it out because, like, I think the first one, no, not the first one. The first one that I read was, like, Beautiful Disaster, and I hated that so much because, like, that guy was such an asshole. Like, he was almost, like, abusive to this girl. And then I read The Hating Game, and I did not like that. And then I'm currently reading Landon and Shay, which is, like, enemies to lovers, but I just started it. Yeah, but I mean, I keep trying it out, but so far my opinion has not changed.
Yeah, I think Landon and Shay is a lot different than Eleanor and Gray.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was YA.
I got peer pressured into reading this book, so.
I think it's good. I'm almost done.
I read it. I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as Eleanor and Gray. Yeah. And I feel like it probably could have just been one book versus like a part 1 and a part 2.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the second part, though, because it's going to be when they're adults is what I'm assuming.
I hope so.
I think that's what they said, yeah.
This one was YA, and like, I didn't know until I started reading it. I thought it was going to be adult. It doesn't
read YA, though.
Yeah, it doesn't read super YA. Like, I like some YA. Like, I just read 1,000 Boy Kisses, recommended by
Oh, yeah,
Kendra.
I watched your video with that. That sounded really
good. Like, so good. Like, 5 stars, and I usually don't like YA because I don't like immature writing, but it was like so good. I think probably because this author usually writes adult books. I believe Tilly Cole writes adult romances versus she's not branching out from YA to write adult. She's branching out from adult to write YA. I think that's what I prefer. If I'm going to be reading YA, I prefer it to be traditionally adult written authors.
I actually just said that in my vlog today, like when I was filming a clip. I literally just said that about Brittany C. Cherry being an adult romance author, and then she writes a YA. It doesn't read like a YA, like a typical YA where they have whiny characters.
Right. I guess I never really thought about that because like so many YAs are like such a miss for me, but it's probably because they usually write YAs.
Yeah.
Versus like what I was just saying with adult writing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Tilly Cole, that book was amazing.
Yeah. And that one's not steamy whatsoever. That one is just very emotion packed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like almost even more emotional than Eleanor and Gray. That was
for sure. Way more emotional.
That was like one of the most emotional books I've ever read.
Oh, that's awesome. That's right up my alley.
I literally
should like the show This Is Us. That's what I want every single romance book to be like. I just want to cry my eyes out.
I think I cried more in that book Like, I want to say I cried pretty much the whole entire book.
Wow.
I cried the first chapter, and then like the last like 50 to 80 pages, I just sobbed. And then I stopped reading and I just sat on the couch. I was like,
oh no.
I'm like, oh my God.
Speaking of, the author of Archer's Voice, Mia something.
Sheridan.
Have you read any of her other books?
I haven't. I just read.
Okay, because there's a couple on Book Outlet, and they're really cheap, and so I was thinking of picking them up.
Oh, I have them, but I haven't read them.
Okay.
I got them from Book Outlet.
Yeah. There's two of them. I think I'm only going to get one, but I think there's two on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was wondering if you read them or not.
Have you read Archer's Voice yet?
No, not yet. Honestly, I have not read one single book from my TBR video.
Oh, really? Like from that thing you're doing on Weeby Bookin', like the
like I ended up just having like with Buzzwordathon and the live shows and like the arcs that I had to read. Like I haven't picked up one single book. So
what books have you guys been reading this month? So if you're reading arcs and stuff, what have you been reading?
I am reading an arc, I thought it was an arc, but I guess it turns out it wasn't an arc. But from a blogging group or like a PR group on Facebook called Burnout, and then I'm reading The Landon and Shay Part 1. I'm reading a NetGalley arc, but it's already out. I was just trying to catch up on stuff.
What's the book?
100 Days of Sunlight. So that one counted for like Buzzwordathon. And then I read Misery. I read The Other Mrs. Miller. I read another NetGalley arc that was already out, but it had numbers in it. It was called 24/6, which is about social media detox once a week, which I actually really like that idea.
Right, because you did read that other social media like detox kind of book, right?
Yeah, that one I read like 2 months ago, which was about like a whole month of social media detox, which was too hard for me to do with all the social media stuff I have to do. So this one was different. It was just 1 day a week that they like 24 hours. They just go without screens and stuff, which I actually could do. And I think I'm going to do that because I could get a lot of reading done then.
That is a good idea. Like 1 day a week.
Yeah. And then I read The Wives. So.
Oh yeah. Because you have your vlog coming out for that.
Yeah. And then I DNF'd The Woman Number 17 at like 80 pages or something like that.
And then you tried reading the 2 Lila Bennett's, right?
Oh yeah, I tried reading that too and DNF'd that at like 30 pages. Or no, I think I tried listening to it. Yeah, I think I tried listening to it.
You didn't like that one?
No.
That one's available on Kindle Unlimited.
It was like, it went right into like, it was like legalistic and I was like, nope. Especially if I was listening to it, like no way. Yeah,
that'd be hard. What about you, Kendra? What have you been reading this month?
Let's see. I've read Rustic Hearts by Amber Kelly by your recommendation, and it was excellent. 5 stars. Small town romance, if you like that.
I love that.
What else have I read? What the Wind Knows by Amy Harmon. That was...
time travel romance.
Yeah, time travel romance, historical fiction type of deal. The ending was what made the book. But other than that, it was okay. But then the last part is... I don't know. I think what I liked about that book was the whole grandpa thing. Because it just made me remind me of my grandpa. So,
stop.
Yeah. It was about a dying grandpa.
Yeah. It was, yeah, I cried. Anyways, the Return. The Other Mrs. Miller. That one was okay.
What a waste of time. No, I'm just kidding.
I read.
You want to read The Return, don't you, Jackie?
Yeah, I have it on my shelf.
We read that.
We read The Return.
How was that?
It's a horror, straight up horror.
Nice.
It was
That's good.
It was kind of scary, actually.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
I probably won't get to it until closer to the publishing date.
I don't even want to say anything about it because I feel like it's not very heavy on plot. It's just heavy on like the scare factor. Mm-hmm. So, like in my opinion, I get kind of easily scared by horror. So I don't want to say much about the plot, but it's pretty creepy.
Scary is the best. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
It was creepy. I mean, I gave it 3 stars.
I gave it 3, but it was really scary. So if you want to be scared,
It was weird.
It was really weird. Probably
that's
one
how
of the
I
weirdest
felt.
books I've ever read.
Yeah, that's how I felt about Misery, because I just read like my first full-length Stephen King novel, and like I gave it 3 stars, but like there were still some like really awesome, like really like effed up scenes, and I was like, yes, I'm here for this. But then there was also some really boring parts.
Yeah.
So.
See, I haven't read a Stephen King because of the length. Like, I just cannot commit. That's also why I didn't read Imaginary Friend, because I can't commit to like such a long book and then end up not loving it. Like,
well,
I can
Misery
barely,
was only 370 pages, so it was a shorter one. And so is
it? Oh, okay.
So is Pet Sematary, which I have to read in a couple months. It's like only 300 some pages, but yeah, I'm like you. Like, I don't want to read long books. It's such a huge time requirement. Like,
what did you rate Imaginary Friend? Because that one was like, what, 700 pages?
3.5, I think.
Yeah, no.
It was like, was it worth the 700 pages?
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm like really proud of myself for being able to read it. I guess that's why. Like, but if I was somebody that always read long books, then no, I probably like wouldn't like be as excited that I read it, I guess. I don't know. That's like the longest book I've ever read. So I was like super proud of myself for finishing it and then semi enjoying it.
Yeah, I have never read a book that long. I don't think, just because I don't have the attention span for something that long. I like the satisfaction of being able to get through it and then being done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I don't read series either. I don't want it to just keep going forever.
I don't like series unless they're companion series. Companion series are probably like what I keep up with the most, because you don't really have to know about the first story. So like if it comes out a year later, you're not totally lost when the next book comes out versus like continuation series. I don't like reading them in order, like publication, like when they're coming out, because then when the next one's published the following year, it's like you have to reread the book again to be able to understand what's happening.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I barely even reread books as it is.
Yeah,
I don't either.
I think I've reread like one book this year.
Me too.
I think I've reread one. Yeah, one.
Which ones did you guys reread?
I reread All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover during Romance-a-thon.
Oh yeah, I think I remember you doing that. I love
that's like my all-time favorite book ever. So
yeah, I feel like romance books have like way more reread value.
I reread A Court of Thorns and Roses
to get ready for like another book, or
so I just reread it.
Is that part of a series, right?
Yeah.
Or did you read the rest of the series?
I've read the second one. I haven't read the third book. I have a horrible series commitment. Like I cannot finish a series to save my life.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I created some spreads in my bullet journal just for keeping track of romance series. Like,
I need to do that too.
Just because they're mostly all companion series anyway. But I created a spread where I like check off boxes for each book I've read in a series. That way, like, it's motivated me to actually revisit, because I have this nasty habit of going on like into romance books, and I hear great things about a series, and I'll pick up the first book and I love it, or I really enjoy it, and then what happens is then I forget about it and just go to the next new and exciting series, and then I forget about those characters in that small town or whatever, and I just want to like keep on track of it more. So I want to like do that.
Yeah, I definitely want to do that as well in 2020. I need to catch up on all of the series that I want to continue in. And, you know,
that's why I made that. That's why I made that like spread. It's like a few pages just to like keep track of stuff. Looks like a few people are rereading. Nicole says she feels like she needs a rereadathon so she won't feel guilty rereading. That's a big thing.
I think I watched a video. I think I watched your like guilty, what makes you like feel guilty or something, like a guilty reader.
Yeah, I like
that. That you reread a lot. Too. Yeah. I don't know why. I think I just don't reread because number one, I have so many other books to read. And so then I feel like I just don't have enough time to like reread and read more new books.
Yeah.
But then also like when I reread All Your Perfects, like I already kind of knew what happened, so I didn't like it as much when I reread it. And so that's another reason why I don't reread, because then I just feel like there's nothing to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's hard. Like with basically knowing exactly what's going to happen. It looks like Chloe said that she's reread After I Do
That's
3
such
times.
a good book.
I loved that book.
I haven't read that
book?
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Yeah. That one and Maybe in Another Life are like two of my favorites of
I haven't read that one either. I've read
gosh, what have you been doing, Kendra?
I think one of those are on the Audible romance Audible Escape. Remember I was telling you some like Laura Jenkins Reid? I think some of her books are on there if you're curious in checking those out. Because like her books are so good. I've loved like every single one.
I've read 2 of hers and I've loved both of them. I gave them both 5 stars.
Yeah, her books, like they're like up there with like Colleen Hoover, like emotionally. Just emotional books for sure. Yeah. This year I reread a historical fiction. I reread Lilac Girls to get ready for Lost Roses.
Yeah.
And I liked the reread of historical fiction because I kind of forgot a lot of the details and it was still really impactful, but I didn't like Lost Roses very much. And so I'm like, well, why did I reread this book?
I love Lilac Roses though. Like, do you need to reread that book to read
No.
Okay.
No, because Lost Roses is like a prequel to Lilac Girls, because Lilac Girls is World War II and Lost Roses is World War I. So you technically don't need to.
Okay, good. Even though I probably would reread that book because I loved it so much.
I did really like that one.
Yeah.
Girly Girl Bookworm Nicole, she said someone on Instagram is doing a whole reread year where they are only rereading for a whole year.
Oh my gosh, no.
I feel like I would be so far behind.
Yeah, that is something like I've been struggling with is I want to read backlist books. But then the more I do that, the more you miss out on all of the new things. And it's like, what is that balance of being able to go back and read authors you enjoy, like their backlist titles, and then trying to keep up with all these new books? And a lot of the new books are just authors I've never read before. So half of them I don't even like because I've never read the author before, or it's a new debut author. Like, how do you guys feel about that? That's something that I've kind of struggled with.
And you're a booktuber, which makes it even harder because people only want to see all the new things and what everyone is talking about at the moment. So then if you're like, you know, if you make a video about reading backlist titles, then they're not as excited as if you said how you read the newest arc. You know what I mean? Because like they want to hear about it before they even get to read it. So
yeah.
What about you, Kendra? Do you feel kind of like that?
I mean, I don't know. I try not to be so pressured to read what other people want me to read. I just try to read what I want to read. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I get arcs and I read them, but I don't know.
I feel definite pressure to read new books, especially because I end up being really enticed and I sign up for like the arcs, and then you get so many arcs that you're like, especially if you start signing up for blog tours with romance, you have to like post them on certain days and you only get the arc like a week before it comes out.
Yeah, you don't have time.
You don't have time. So for instance, I have 2 arcs that they come out the 4th and the 5th of December. There's Landon and Shay Part 2, and then there's The Lineup by Megan Quinn, and they're both like from authors I enjoy. And I just got the email that I'm going to be receiving the arc for Landon and Shay like the 29th of November, so like a week before, and I haven't even gotten the email yet of when I'm going to be receiving The Lineup, and it's coming out on the 5th.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and then you have to post like your reviews on certain days, and you have to post like cover reveals and everything. And so I like, you know, doing it, especially if it's not like a Kindle Unlimited romance, because then I don't have to pay for it. But both of those are Kindle Unlimited. So if anyone has it, those are both Kindle Unlimited, but yeah, it definitely is a pressure to like read all of the new stuff because, like you were saying, Jackie, everyone just wants to see people talk about the new stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like that's the thing also is that like I mean, not that everything is about numbers, like, but also being a booktuber, like you still have to kind of focus on like what your audience wants to see. And so Eleanor and Gray was a backlist title, and I made the whole like video with including spoilers. And like I really enjoyed making that video, but it definitely got a lot less views than like if I had posted like a new release without spoilers, you know what I mean? Like everyone would want to click on that.
Right, one that's not published yet.
Right, exactly. And especially with like if you didn't include spoilers. And so then like the people that watched the Eleanor and Gray video and commented about how much they love that I included spoilers, like it's a very small amount of an audience.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to kind of figure out, it's like, okay, well, you know, you have to make like, it's like you have to read some books that are just for your audience's enjoyment, or like, I mean, partially for yours, but then also like I want to read some of the books that I want to read if it's a backlist, and I want to include spoilers if that's what I like to make. But then you have to, you know, you see these ups and downs. And so it's like all about, it's like a numbers game. Sometimes it's like, okay, well, I need to like make my audience happy with this, or like make it's like with daily vlogs. Like, it's like people want daily vlogs, but like, I also have to sometimes say no to daily vlogs because I just can't physically do it. Like, you know, something like that.
It's a lot of commitment.
That I couldn't do daily vlogging because I've never done them, just because like that just sounds like so much pressure to find interesting things in my day to like, my days are the same every day.
Yeah.
Like how many times can I show drinking coffee? Like,
it's so bad though. Like I am doing a weekly vlog for Buzzwordathon, and it's probably like the worst vlog I've ever done in my life because I didn't have that pressure on me to like film all day long. So I literally have like one clip for every day, and I'm gonna be like, hey, here's my daily vlog. Or here's my weekly vlog. Like
my Buzzwordathon vlog sucked. I did 2 updates a day, and I didn't do any extraneous like stuff outside of updating, and that's like all I did. And I did 2 vlogs. The first one was only like 15 minutes. The second one was like 10 or 12 minutes.
I have no clue. I haven't gone through my stuff yet, but like I filmed like B-roll. We went to a winery on Tuesday, and I was like, great, like this is awesome. Like I can put this in my vlog, blah, blah, blah. And then like every day I was working, and like Friday I worked a 12-hour shift, and I was like, I just can't update. And I didn't want to include work in this vlog because like that's what makes my daily vlogs special. So I don't want them to all be the same because people are going to get tired of it. And then yesterday I had a game night with my coworkers, and I was like, great, like I can include this. It's something different. I brought my camera, totally forgot to film because we were just having so much fun. Yeah. And we were leaving, and I was like, darn it, I missed an opportunity. So it's like, you just forget to film content, or sometimes it's just irritating. Like every time you sit, like every time you sit and read, it's like, I really just don't want to have to set up the camera and then move it 5 times before I even get to read this stupid book. Like you have to pretend to read. Like,
well, I also have to do it privately in my own room if I want to film myself reading, or I want to do things. I have to do it alone, because if I was to put my camera out in my living room, it would be smashed by my baby.
Right.
She would wreck everything. I can't like put a tripod in my living room. I can't put my camera on anything. If I was to just sit on the couch and just want to like film here and there, like they were watching TV, if I want to just do little like B-roll or something of me doing stuff, if I had my camera with me, she literally she can find anything, and she just like smashes things. Like I have to put like my Kindle and my phone in the couch cushions, like between them, or else she takes them and she like, it'd be tough.
Yeah, I think people just don't realize, like, I think that they think that we just have our cameras on like 24 hours of the day, and they're just like, why aren't you including this? Like, why not? But it's like, that's not real life. And then if you do have your camera on for a really long time, then you have to sit there and go through like so many like minutes of footage, which takes
charge your battery.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, and I was talking about this with like Gabby and Zoe from Zoe Reads. Like I feel like right now, all of the booktubers are just feeling like a lot of pressure, especially with like everyone being busy with the holidays coming up, because everyone's like vlogs are just like going downhill. Like everyone's like, I'm so tired of vlogging, like,
and burnout.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a real thing.
My vlog for Buzzwordathon, I'm not kidding you, is like all cooking and no freaking reading.
Oh,
like I've read I read one whole book, and I'm like 3/4 of the way through Landon and Shay, which hopefully I'll finish that tonight, so I at least have another book finished. But
Yeah.
I guess I don't feel like reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Like, so it was
And I
like,
feel like I have to read for a vlog, so it's like
right.
I'm pushing myself to read, and I don't want to.
Yeah. I legit have not filmed a thing today yet. I'm gonna have to just film and be like, okay, bye everybody. Like, didn't do anything today.
I didn't film anything Friday. I was like, nope. We went to Hobby Lobby and went Christmas shopping, and I was like, I ain't filming anything. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like, I don't know how people literally do those like the big YouTubers where they like daily vlog like 365 days of their life. Like, I would
and they
legit
bring
just have to
cameras
kill
into
myself.
stores like every day. I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you get the courage to talk to a camera in a store?
I know.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh.
I feel weird.
I have no courage for that.
Especially like if you can see people looking at you in the viewfinder, like just like giving you these looks. I'm not there yet.
I'm not there either. I feel like I'd get kicked out of a store. I'm really tall, so like everyone would see me.
Yeah.
It looks like Nicole is saying that she doesn't request ARCs because it's so hard to keep up, and she prefers physical ARCs, but it's like hard to get them, and it can like hinder her following because like she doesn't read as many ARCs, and everyone wants to just hear about ARCs.
Yeah. Everyone just like, that's why like people love like TBR videos, the wrap up videos, the haul videos, and then any type of like most anticipated, like, oh my gosh, people just eat those videos alive because they just want to hear all about the new.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Like, I would like to hear more about like backlist titles even. Like, I don't care just about new titles. What I actually want to see more of on YouTube, and I think I'm going to create more content like it, is I like Kindle Unlimited. I love the service. It is a really good deal. And I think a lot of people are starting to use it because it is a relatively newer service.
Yeah.
And I don't see enough videos about it. And when I do, it's all like romance only. It has more than just romance on there too. It has historical fiction and thrillers. It has like a variety of things. And I just don't see enough content of people talking about books on there. And I feel like such a large amount of people consume content through Kindle Unlimited, and somehow people just don't talk about it.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
I just don't understand why it's not talked about more, because a lot of people have the service.
Yeah. And I see, and that's funny that you say that that's what you're working on, because I'm working on what I don't see a lot of, and that's with reading books and including spoilers, especially for backlist, because there's so many times where I read a book and like I would have loved to be able to watch like a video like of people talking about this, you know what I mean? And so that's the problem. Like, I see pictures of books like in people's thumbnails, or I'll like search it on YouTube and like some videos come up, but it's always in like a wrap up style and it's very vague. And so, you know, like they know as much as, you know, the back of the book does. And so I want to make more videos like my Eleanor and Gray vlog. And like, I also did one for the wives that's going to come out in December, where like I include spoilers. So people that actually read that book can watch it, and then they can like comment, like talk about it and comment about it, because I wish that people made videos like that. Because,
more spoilery type things.
Right, exactly. Because like, sure, I feel like a lot of BookTube is just watching books, getting star like reviews and then adding it to your TBR, but like you don't actually have a conversation or a discussion about that, you know what I mean?
Unless you have friends who read.
Right, exactly. Like,
and
unless, or like they join us in this live show, like they knew we were going to read this book and then we discuss it. And so I wish that there were more videos like that. Yeah.
And I think that's great that live shows are also being posted to YouTube. Like they're saved there as a video. So these discussions can be watched at a later date. Like, so if someone does search The Other Mrs. Miller now, this probably might show up.
Yeah. If you put it in your tags.
I need to edit those. But yeah, if I have it in my tags, and then I would love to be able to go in and watch old discussions like this where people are actually having a conversation. It's not just one person to a camera. You can watch the whole like live show. I think that's cool. Nicole said that she filmed like a Kindle haul, and a lot of people gave her comments that they don't like Kindles. I think that's another thing. A lot of people get their panties in a bunch about you putting a photo on the screen. Like, I don't take a lot of my books off my shelves to like film upstairs. My
Yeah.
shelves are downstairs. I film upstairs. Like
Mhm.
unless it's a haul, I just put a picture in. It's easier for me.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people want to see you
The
hold up a
physical
physical
book.
book, and
Yeah.
I don't really understand why.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I usually like my wrap ups, I've either like already like swapped the book or like put it somewhere or put it into like the library for the book club. So like I don't have the copy anymore because as soon as I'm done reading, I like get rid of the stuff. So then, yeah, I do what you do, Shelby, where I always just put the pictures. And so then it's only for like my TBRs that I actually have the book, or if it's a reading vlog where I physically had the book, you know. But
Yeah, and I read a lot of ebooks, and so
yeah, and especially with NetGalley, like I mean, those are all ebooks. Like
Yeah.
That's true. I don't understand why like people don't. I don't know. They don't like that. Like it doesn't bother me if people just show the cover. Maybe they want to see what the actual book like looks like. I don't know. It's kind of odd. Or people more enjoy book haul versus Kindle book hauls. Like I post Kindle book hauls separate from my book hauls just because like it would be too much if I put all my Kindle ones on top of it.
Yeah.
And my regular book hauls get like substantially more views than my Kindle book hauls from like the same month. And for some reason, the Kindle ones don't get as many. Do people assume that Kindle books aren't as good?
Yeah, I think maybe also less people. I mean, more people will, I think, in the future, but less people still, I think, read ebooks and use like Kindles. I still think that there's more of a want to read a physical book. So, I mean, that'll probably change in the future. But I mean, Kindles haven't been around, like they haven't been that popular yet, you know? So,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's why.
Chloe said that she actually prefers the picture because when people are holding the book, they're usually moving it or it's hard to read.
I do it a lot.
I know. It happens all the time.
I'm yelling at myself when I'm watching the playback, and I'm like, damn it, why didn't you just like hold the stupid book there? Like,
or I hold it at an angle on accident, and I'm like, I can't even
like
see the title.
Books. Yeah, and the library books are so shiny.
Trying to take pictures for Instagram with library books is the bane of my existence because you have the huge reflection like right in the front.
Sucks. I wish I know that's to keep them preserved, but like I wish that they didn't have to do that.
Why can't it be matte plastic?
Yeah. No, it's free. How come you can't, live up to my expectations?
Yeah, figure it out, library.
Right.
I'm really excited. I just got the family upstairs from the library, and so like that's probably going to be my next read because I need, to read the library book. Yeah, I'm really excited because I got denied for the ARC. So I went on hold like months ago for the library copy. Now it's number like 2 or 3 on the list, and it finally came in, and it looks so pristine. Library copies are usually like beat up, and this one like is a brand new book. And I also got The Lying Room by Nikki French or something.
Oh, yeah.
And that one was also brand new. The pages are like pristine and white, and looks like no one's read it. And I'm like,
awesome.
Yeah, it feels good. I haven't really been getting like a lot of library books this month, but I got those. I'm excited. Yeah. Well, I think we talked about all we had to talk about. I mean, we've been on for about an hour. And does anyone have any questions before we go? We'll wait a couple seconds because they're a little lagging. But if anyone has any last questions before we head out, we'll wait a couple seconds. But it's a bummer we didn't like the book more. That's okay. Hopefully next month's is better.
You should put that in the title. More people will watch this.
Putting what in the title?
If it's a rant review or like a negative thing, more people will click on it.
Rant discussion.
Yeah. No, for real. I'm not even kidding.
I don't think anyone has any questions. Someone said thank you. You're welcome. Sorry we didn't like it. I think that's it. So
we roast the other Mrs. Miller.
Yeah.
Thriller Talks After Dark.
Roasted. All right. Well, I think that's it. Thank you guys for joining me. I had a lot of fun. Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.